for you to be joining us today from where I can see all over the world. So if you haven't yet introduced yourself and said us hello and let us know where you are, do so in the chat. We're in for a cracking session today. But before we do, I'm going to hand over to Sufami, who's going to give us a little bit of an intro to a collab that's going on that's super exciting.
Thank you so much for that intro. And hi, everyone. My name is Shifumi. I'm calling in from Toronto. So anyone from Toronto, hello. And yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I'm here to introduce a collab with Collab. So I'm one of the co-founders of Collab. And essentially, our goal is to facilitate the practical product development experience to get people into tech and also to succeed in the tech industry. And we do that by pairing product designers with their very own product manager and software developer to work on projects over 5 weeks, right? Our goal is to simulate a real work environment. So you get to really understand what it feels like to work on a real product team, make some of the real trade-offs that you get to do in a normal job, and also get to see your designs past the prototype stage into the hands of customers. So we've seen people do a lot of like different projects, from working with nonprofits, launching their products on product hunts, or even building like a mentorship platform for like Black students to find mentors to get into tech. So we're doing a lot of like cool stuff in Collab, and we have our upcoming cohort beginning February 19th. And I've reached out to Felix and ADPList, and we'll be very honored to provide one scholarship for someone who's interested in joining our program. And for anyone else in the ADPList community, would also get 10% off of our learning program. So if you'd like to learn more about it, you can go to joincollab.io, and I'm pretty sure Felix will be able to provide additional details on how you can get involved. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. So I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity to collab with ADPList. And yeah, looking forward to any one of you who might be interested in getting that practical experience to actually like succeed in the workplace. And lastly, I just wanted to end by saying you belong in tech. It's our mantra, and it's what we continue to tell people, because we want people to feel confident in their skills, and we want to give them the practical experience that they need to be successful. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the program today.
Amazing, thank you. Yes, get involved, super get involved. There's some details in the chat if you want to know a little bit more that Felix has been sharing around. So before we get into today, I'm going to introduce myself for those that don't know me. I'm Bronwen, and I'm head of design for Prime Motive and very much active mentor on ADPList. I've been designing for just under a decade, both here in Melbourne, Australia. So I did see a few other Aussies, so hello to the other Aussies. Although I do come with a British accent, because I've also been a designer in London, which is where I was kind of born, but moved over here to Sunnyside, Melbourne, which I'm loving at the moment. I'm going to introduce Cami and the topic in a mo, but before we do, I just wanted to run through just a few housekeeping things. It's always kind of what we like to call the boring bit, but I think it's really important to cover today. So firstly, you can probably see that the session is being live streamed, but we'll also be recording the session, hopefully. And so at some point throughout the session, we will be asking a few people to come forward and speak about kind of what they're learning or sharing some of their thoughts. So we just want you to be really mindful that when that's happening, that, you know, this session is being recorded. Secondly, Cami does have a wonderful session planned for us, and we highly encourage participation throughout the session. We really want you to jump in with both feet and just kind of get really stuck into it. Now, by participation, we mean following along with the sessions, getting really stuck into the exercises that are given to you. This will be done in your own space, in your own homes, in your own studios, wherever you are. And you aren't required to come on camera or speak out loud if you don't want to, but definitely join in with the exercises. You'll definitely get the most out of this session if you're going to do that. And last one for me is kind of what is said in here stays in here. And what we mean by that is that we're all on our own paths, we're all on our own journeys. And so whatever is said, there is no judgment, there is no negativity. We just support one another in each of their journeys. Yes, big love. We've all been through it. You know, I'm a decade in, but I'm still learning. I'm getting it wrong all the time and getting better all the time. So, okay. So without further ado, let me introduce Cami. I'm going to read the script, so just bear with me. I just don't want to get that wrong. So Cami is a recovering graphic designer and has 30 years of design experience and has worked with all types of organizations, from academia to agencies, from startups to international nonprofit corporations. She is now a transformational coach specifically for creatives. She is a national speaker and an author. Pretty amazing. She is based in Kansas City area, which she's told me a lot about, which I love. And she's probably best known for her good juju and spreading it wherever she goes. I can confirm. She's given me a couple of fun facts. I'm going to give this one because it's the easiest one, Cami. She has the honorific title of lady and can be referred to, or should be referred to, as Lady Cami Travis Groves. But no curtsying or bowing is necessary. I disagree. I feel like if you meet Cami, you should give her a bow.
I'll take it.
Okay, so what is today's session about? These deep dive editions are conversations and insights that delve into our innermost and quite difficult inner workings. The aim is that we give the opportunity for creative people like myself, like yourselves, an opportunity to heal, grow, and eventually become our best selves, and the selves that we want to be, not that anybody else wants to be. Today, specifically, we're tackling the desire, perspective, and baby steps, working out what it is that we really want and how we can get there. As mentioned, Cami is going to run us through a number of exercises today to help us understand that and how to get there. Then at the end, hopefully we'll be running we'll have time for a couple of Q&A sessions or Q&A minutes with Cami and myself. But saying that if there is any Q&As throughout, please chuck them in the chat. I'll be collecting them and then I'll kind of give them to Cami to kind of at the end to kind of talk through with us. So don't hold on to them and let them forget. Make sure you kind of write them down when you remember. Otherwise, more than happy for you to come on later and ask in person and yourself. All right, I think I've covered it all. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Cami, who's going to run us through this absolutely epic of a session.
Thank you. Thank you, Bronwen. Welcome to the first deep dive edition. I'm so excited. I see some familiar faces. I see some familiar names. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for taking this step in investing in yourself. And like Bronwen said, I'll be asking for participation in the Zoom chat. So have that open and ready. Also have some paper and something to write with. Okay. All right. We are going to be working on uncovering your deepest desires, gaining some much needed perspective, and then mapping out baby steps that you can take starting today. But first, let's get fully present. I know the day kind of gets a little hectic and you know, oh, can I make it in time? But what I want to do now is set the tone, have you take some deep, slow breaths, and just listen. Listen to the sound of your breath. Count 1 on the inhale, 2 on the exhale, 3 on the inhale, and on and on. Close your eyes, relax. Let the day wash off of you. When you get to 10, just keep your eyes closed for a moment. Imagine your feet rooted through the floor and onto the ground, pulling in exactly what you need, just like a tree would. Take another deep breath and release your expectations for the next hour. One final deep breath and set your intention to allow yourself to be open and honest with yourself and enjoy the next hour or so. Let's begin. I found a quote today that I'd like to share with you from Nikola Tesla. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Yeah, I'm a science nerd, among other things. So let me tell you a little bit about my journey so far on my 52 plus years on this planet. Anyone raised by a single parent? Yeah, me too. So this is me as a kid. 7 years old there. It's Halloween. I have a purple princess costume on. After I was about 4 years old or so, my dad just wasn't in the picture. So I was raised by just my mom. And sometimes my elder brother was around. He was quite the challenge because he's a convicted sociopath. And he's 10 years older than I am. Stacking the deck even further against me, I was also sexually molested by several men while I was between the ages of 4 and 8. As a kid, I moved 12 times and changed schools 11 times in 12 years. So I was always the new kid in school, sometimes twice in one school year. I was the tallest and arguably the nerdiest kid in school until about high school. I had no social skills whatsoever, so I had no friends, not until high school. I even attempted suicide. Obviously, I failed at that, and that is one failure that I absolutely cherish. Okay, so according to the test that measures childhood trauma on a scale of 1 to 10 called the Adverse Childhood Experience Test, or the ACE test, any score above a 4 is when things get serious. I scored an 8. The life I was dealt set me up for very high risk of having problematic adult life full of health issues, social and emotional problems. So because of my childhood, I understand fear intimately. I know how crippling it can be. I've experienced fight or flight and freeze. Thankfully, I've healed. I don't consider myself a victim, but a survivor. I look back at everything that has helped shape me with gratitude. It's made me who I am. I share these things with you today, not so that you know, not so that you feel sorry for me, but that you know what I've accomplished on a personal level. I've not had it easy. I've overcome so much. And I want to tell you that if I can do it, you can do it. My sincerest wish is that I help you get past some of your fears, some of your creative blocks, and release your imposter syndrome and move resolutely toward happiness and your best self. When I was a kid, I blossomed early, and I think I was probably 5'9", and that's about 175 or so centimeters in the 3rd grade. I used to be afraid of standing out, so I never stood up straight. I used to be afraid the kids around me would notice me and then pick on me some more because I was bullied. I also used to be afraid of showing vulnerability, and I'm still working on that one. But I would very much like to know what some of your fears are. If you're feeling brave, I would love for you to share in the chat what your fears are. And I would love for you to write it with, if I weren't afraid, or no, I'm afraid that. Let's start with that one. I'm afraid that. And then write what it is that you're afraid of. There's 125 of you, so you're anonymous, right? I'm afraid that I will let others down. I'm afraid that I'm not smart enough to succeed. I'm afraid that I'm not creative enough. I'll lose myself. I'm afraid to disappoint my parents. I'm afraid I'm running out of time. I'm afraid that I'll never heal. I'm afraid that my English isn't good enough. Beautiful. You're not alone in their fears. I'm afraid that I'll always be average. I'm afraid of being afraid. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. So, if you could set those fears aside just for today, set those fears and doubts aside, just unplug them. You pick them up later if you need them. You won't need them. What would you attempt? I would love to know. Write in the chat, I would attempt, or I would try. So think, if you weren't afraid, what would you attempt? What would you consider trying? I would attempt forgive and let go. I would just try to go for it. Yes. I would attempt to own and run my own food truck. That's awesome. Start my own business, start over somewhere new, a bigger step in my life. Anything new, I would try to push my boundaries. I would attempt to forgive myself much more. Yes. I would try. Yes, I would live in a different country. I would work with amazing companies. I would attempt to love again. Oh, my heart goes out to you. I would try to free myself. Oh, beautiful. Yes. Thank you for sharing those. Stop comparing myself, comparing my success with others. Yes. I would stop feeling guilty for taking care of myself. You can start that now. I give you my permission. You don't have to feel guilty for taking care of yourself. Perfect. All right. So, are you ready to go a little deeper? Grab your pencil and paper. We're going to explore your deepest desires. Now, if you've already had a one-on-one with me, this will be very familiar to you. Feel free to do it again. You never know what's going to come out of it, okay? So I'm going to give you the beginning of a sentence. I would like you to write it down and then finish it 3 different ways. And you don't have to think about it too much. Just whatever comes to mind. This is the sentence. My deepest desire is to become the kind of person who, okay? Don't overthink it. Write quickly. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I'm going to give you some mood music for it too. You have 2 minutes. My deepest desire. It can be anything like the kind of person who changes the world through design, or who makes tons of money, or who has freedom, or is truly happy. There are no wrong answers here. Just write fast. Write the first 3 things that come to mind. Okay? Deepest desire to become the kind of person who. Okay, you have about a minute left. Thirty seconds. Okay, and time. All right, your 2 minutes are up. Excellent. Now, woo-woo stuff is fine, but I'm a big science nerd, so I love discovering the science behind why some of the woo-woo stuff works so well. So those 3 things that you wrote down are the things that are most obvious to you. They're top of mind. Okay, but now I want you to actively and consciously think about this. Let's check in with your brain. You'd think it's all about logic and facts and information, but your brain responds almost exactly to you imagining things as to the real thing happening. So I want you to check in with your best and brightest, most logical self. Okay, take a few seconds to check in with your brain and ask, what are your brain's deepest desires? Okay, now from your brain's perspective, how would you finish that same sentence? I'm going to give you 2 more minutes. Okay, write fast, write 3 different times. Don't edit. Just allow whatever comes to come. Okay, you've got 2 minutes. It's okay if you write the same thing more than once. Think of a way to write it more clearly the second time. Got about a minute left. All right. Your 2 minutes are up. Good work. All right. So the amazing thing about your brain is that it's not the only place where neural cells live, right? Your brain's desires are usually fueled by your current knowledge and they're filtered by your inner critic. And among other things, your inner critic's job is to maintain the status quo, to make sure you don't take any risks, and make sure you have clothes on when you leave the house. And your brain isn't the only center of intuition that you have. Did you know that your heart also has neural cells, just like your brain? The entire field of neurocardiology only began in 1991, so it's a relatively new field of medicine. Interestingly, the signals that travel between your heart and your brain, 80% come from your heart and go to your brain. This means that your heart has something to say. So let's check in with your heart. Okay, take a deep breath. And for a few seconds, consciously listen to what your heart has to say. What are your heart's deepest desires? So now from your heart's perspective, finish that sentence 3 more times. Write fast again. Allow whatever you feel to come. You have 2 minutes. My deepest desire is to become the kind of person who... We've got about a minute left. Okay. And your 2 minutes are up. Great job. Now, did you know you also have neural cells in your gut? Amazing, right? So hidden inside the walls of your gastrointestinal tract, you have what scientists call a little brain. It also communicates with your big brain, including influencing your moods, which in turn influences what you eat. Then that influences what flora and bacteria lives in your gut, which influences the message you get, the messages that get sent to your brain, and so on. So gut neurobiology or gut-brain connection is a fascinating rabbit hole. If you have time, Google it, okay? So finally, let's check in with your gut. What are your gut's deepest desires? All right, from your gut's perspective now, finish that sentence 3 more times. Allow whatever you're feeling to come up. No editing. You have 2 minutes and go. My deepest desire is to become the kind of person who... 1 minute left. All right then. And time. All right. Well done. Give yourself a pat on the back. Now you can consider these 12 deepest desires as your North Star. For example, if you can, if you're worried about taking a job offer, you can judge whether it's good for you or not if it aligns with those deepest desires. Does it support your efforts or make progress toward those big, juicy goals? So how did that feel, getting those actually written down? Would anyone like to read what they wrote? And Bronwen, I'll need your help to see everybody. Relieving, amazing, epic, moving, like a release. Yes, very much so. Anybody like to raise their hand? There's a few people I know in the room that I would love to call on.
Just trying to see if I can see hands going up.
That's hard to tell.
Yeah. Karen, I can see you. I can see you. I'm just trying to unmute you. Here we go. Hopefully. Has that asked you to unmute?
Yes. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Karen, I would love for you to read all 12 if you're feeling brave.
I got this.
Awesome. First of all, where are you calling from?
New Jersey.
Hello. Welcome, welcome.
Anyone on the East Coast? Anyone?
I'm sure.
Yo, what's up?
I see a lot of waves.
Holla.
Oh, yeah.
Coast, New York, PA,
Okay.
TL. All
Okay.
right. So, okay. So my deepest. Okay. So start from the top down. My deepest desire is to become the kind of person who is not blocked by fear or worry when trying something new.
Beautiful.
Not afraid to express themselves, and knows that they are worth it and that they deserve good.
Wonderful. So those are the first three, right?
Those are the first three.
So those are the things that are most obvious to you, the things that are most you're most conscious of, that you're most aware of. Okay, now let's pick in with your brain. The next three.
Restating the intro, my deepest desire is to become the kind of person who does not overthink. That's a bad habit of mine. Who thinks clearly. Beautiful. And stops spinning in circles, like thinking around in circles, like not trying anything new.
Beautiful. All right. How about your heart? What does your heart have to say?
Oh, my deepest desire is to become the kind of person who can love another again.
Beautiful.
Love myself.
Beautiful.
To start a family.
Beautiful.
That'd be kind of cool. Like, that'd be good.
All right. And how about your gut?
My deepest desire is to become the kind of person who faces challenges without giving up.
Mm-hmm.
Gives everything to the task at hand, and trusts their gut more.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, did you notice that of those 12, one or two had a little bit more zing when you wrote them or when you read them back?
To be honest, I think all of mine have zing, so I would like an outside perspective on which ones had more zing than zang.
It's very personal. It's very personal. Which ones to you feel the most important right now for where you are?
Probably to love myself.
Okay, circle that one. And everyone else, pay attention to the ones that zing for you. Circle the ones, the 1 or 2, maybe 3 that have the most zing.
And I think probably the other one, the
one that might have made a lump in your throat when you tried to read it.
Just know that they're worth it, that I'm worth it.
Beautiful.
I guess there's that one.
Yeah, circle that one. Okay.
Right.
Everyone give Karen a big hand. Thank you for sharing and for being brave.
Round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my God, this is like not what I expected, but it's what I needed.
This is the conversation.
A box of tissue here in case the old water starts to cry out.
Yes.
It's just everyone grab a box of tissues because you never know.
That is certainly allowed. Okay, so when we write these things down, we're giving ourselves permission to feel them, first of all. And if you noticed that your head is telling you some things and your heart is telling you other things and your gut is telling you completely different things. Is that true for anybody? Yeah. So what's happening is that when your 3 centers of intuition or information or wisdom, whatever you call it, are not in alignment, you're being pulled in different directions. They're parts of your body physically wanting you to do different things. But when all 3 are in alignment, your motivation soars and you become unstoppable. Think about it. Think about the last snap decision that you made. It was easy because all 3 were in perfect alignment, right? So if they're all 3 in different directions, just know that all of these things now are being heard, all of your body is being recognized, and you can start moving forward. All right, now we're going to do a little imagination exercise. Okay. I'll give you some more music. Why not? There we go. I want you to close your eyes and imagine a beautiful mountain range in front of you. Okay. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping. You can see beautiful mountain peaks. Okay. Each of those 12 desires are 12 mountain peaks in front of you. And the 2 or 3 that really zinged for you, those are the tallest peaks. Those are the most important ones. And that one that zinged the most, that's the highest peak. And that's the one you really want to climb next. Some days, some years, 2020, feel like that peak is miles away. Feels like you'll never get there. Some days they feel a little bit closer than others. Now I want you to notice that there are actually valleys in between where you are now in the foothills and that tallest peak. In the valleys are streams and meadows and trees, places to rest and refocus. So with your eyes still closed, I want you now to turn around and look behind you. Look at that beautiful view. Look at how far you've come. Look at how many other smaller mountains that you've already summited. Can you see the valleys where you paused and rested and refocused? Look at how many things you have already accomplished. Look at how many obstacles you have already overcome. Was it a straight line between where you started and where you are now? No, it's not supposed to be. And did you get to where you are now in just one big leap? No. It was a series of tiny baby steps, taken one step at a time. Do you remember being somewhere way back there, only dreaming of being where you are now, thinking, oh, if I could only be there? But when you got to where you are now, did you stop and celebrate? Did you take in the view? Or did you just focus on what was next, like a never-ending to-do list? So with your eyes still closed, turn back around and face your beautiful mountain range of deepest desires again, and focused on that next peak that you want to summit. Just like on a real hike up a real mountain, you wouldn't just focus on nonstop climbing. You'd pause occasionally, appreciate the scenery, turn around and look at how far you've come. And also, like on a real hike, you wouldn't just ignore the people who are struggling to climb up the mountain with you. You'd pause to make sure they're okay and not lost. You'd share their water with you. You'd share your water with them if they were thirsty, right? And just like on a real hike, you can't get from where you are standing now to that next peak in one giant leap. Just like you did in the past, it'll take a series of baby steps. So with your eyes still closed, focus on the emotions you would feel when you reach that highest peak. Allow yourself to feel that emotion. Would you be happy? Would you be satisfied, elated? Feel this emotion as frequently as possible, daily if you can. And there is tons of science behind doing this. Steep yourself in that amazing emotion of what it would feel like to have already summited that next peak. Take a deep breath in, steeping yourself fully in those emotions, okay? And when you're ready, open your eyes. Feels wonderful, right? Wonderful. All right, now for the fun part. What are a couple of teeny tiny baby steps that you could take toward that next peak starting today or this week or in the next 2 weeks? Put some ideas in the chat of what are some teeny tiny baby steps. I would love to know. Like if you think, well, I got to get a job, that's huge. All right. How do you break down getting a job? Well, I got to get my portfolio ready. Portfolio, that's huge. That's a huge step. Okay. Well, I gotta rewrite this case study. Okay, that's huge. Break it down even further. A teeny tiny baby step is maybe write one paragraph about that one case study. Another baby step, get one image that goes with that one case study that goes in your portfolio. Or make a connection on LinkedIn with somebody. Be kinder to myself. Oh, you guys are going there. Oh, I love it. Look at my resume instead of avoiding it. Yeah. Getting my resume ready. Even that's huge. Instead of looking at the entire resume, break it down. What's one job description that you could write that would get you that much closer? If those tasks feel daunting, if you find yourself stuck and not motivated, if you know you need to do it and can't make yourself, it's because the steps are too big. Break it down. Write a paragraph. There you go. Oh, yes. Sync resume with LinkedIn profile. Perfect. Organize your assets. That sounds huge. Break that down. Make time to acknowledge yourself. Yeah. Go for a walk. Yes. Perfect. Don't say I can't before even trying. Exactly. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So once you've mapped out 1 or 2 or 3 baby steps, what are 2 or 3 or 4 more? And a couple of more? Map them out. Mapping out small steps increases your motivation, increases your confidence, and you'll get to that next peak that much faster. If you find your motivation's failing, remember, take smaller steps. Just focus on baby steps. It sounds ridiculously simple, but it is. Then when you've knocked out like 3 or 6 or 12 baby steps, remember to turn around and appreciate the view. Celebrate the hell out of what you just accomplished. Be happy, be in the moment. Oh my God, look what I just did. I wrote 3 freaking paragraphs for this case study. Yeah. Anything you can do to boost your own mood, to elevate your good juju hormones and whatnot. Oh my gosh. Do you know that happy people live longer? They are more successful. They make more money. There's lots of science behind it. There's a great book on that. It's on my website called The Happiness Advantage. So happy people live longer. Happy people make more money. Oh my gosh. So here's what I want to do. I have created a diagram that I want to share with you. This is something I use in my coaching. Feel free to take a screenshot, okay? We have fear at the bottom. And then past is on the left, future's on the right, love's at the top, okay? When you operate from a base of fear and you look at your past, all you feel is shame. Like, oh, I hope nobody finds out about that thing. Or disgust, like, oh, I can't believe I did that. I was so stupid. Or resentment. Oh, I wish I'd have been given an opportunity. I could have done better. And all those things then lead to self-doubt in the present. And then how can you have confidence moving towards a future when you're frustrated, you're worried, what's going to come next? Oh my God, last year was such a dumpster fire. How am I going to deal with that? And so you end up stuck and you're focusing on all the things you don't have. That's a scarcity mindset. But if you choose to operate from a base of love, and it is very much a choice, you look at your past with gratitude, thinking everything that has happened to you has gotten you where you are now. And you can have pride at all those things that you have overcome. And you're like, you know what? These things make me feel pretty wise. And I'm confident that whatever comes, I can deal with it. Because look at how far I've come. Look at how I've overcome. Those things naturally grow self-confidence. You can have compassion for people who are also on their own journey. Patience, because who knows what's coming? Whatever it's going to be good because you can deal with it. And then looking towards the future, you can start being curious. And here's where the magic happens. When you operate from a base of love and an abundance mindset, you can start creating your future. And life isn't something that happens to you, it happens for you. And you realize your past isn't something that happened to you, but happened for you. Okay? So when you're focused on what you don't have, on scarcity, you're always operating from a base of fear. And love will always, always, always serve you and your goals so much better than fear. Fear is a lousy advisor. Remember to choose love. So your life's goals will not be accomplished in one giant leap, but by a series of very, very small baby steps, again and again, over and over. Enjoy those baby steps. They'll allow you to pivot and adjust and adapt. Small steps will get you to that next peak, and the one after that, and the one after that. So how does that feel? Having identified what it is that you truly desire. You've gained perspective on where you are now, and you've created baby steps to help you get to your next big juicy goal. How's that feel? How's that feel? empowering, amazing, good, less stressful. Yeah. That exercise we did in the very beginning, just breathing, imagining your feet rooted to the floor, your roots pulling in what it is you need. You are meditating. That's meditating. That's all that is. Your brain can simultaneously think of two things at once. So if you're listening to your breath, that's one thing. And if you're counting, that's another. Easy peasy. Even if that's all you do, 10 breaths, 5 breaths, whatever, you get all the benefits from it. Okay. So give yourself a pat on the back. Well done. All right. So part of the reason that I didn't just implode from my childhood trauma is that I had very deep, very solid desires for my life, big, juicy goals. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be out of poverty. I wanted to be out of the drama that I was born into. And to be honest, part of it was just sheer stubbornness on my part. I am an Enneagram 8 after all. If you know anything about Enneagrams, 8s are pretty stubborn. I knew deep down I was deserving of love. I was deserving of nurturing and happiness. If you are a human being and you have a heartbeat, you're also deserving of love and nurturing and happiness. And sometimes we just need to be told that. So I'm telling you now, you deserve love, you deserve nurturing, and you deserve happiness. So what happened is I ended up hiring coaches who then ended up being catalysts for my personal healing and growth. I hired business coaches, but it just started a snowball here. Personal healing and growth wasn't even on my radar. It was like, personal healing and growth, whatever, I'm fine. Show me the science. But those coaches and mentors helped me see what it was I really wanted, how I was actually getting in my own way, and what I was really good at, which turns out, unsurprisingly, is to help creative people heal and grow. So I made the decision, the conscious decision, to operate from a base of love, to move through and past trauma and become my best self. And this is also my wish for all of you, and really the purpose of Deep Dive. Now, I represent an opinion of one, and I may be wrong about everything. Feel free, I give you my permission to ignore everything I've said. But for me, our purpose in life is to dive deep and emerge whole so we can live fully who we're meant to be. And if that feels right to you, I invite you to do the same. If you are really committed to doing ongoing inner work, apply for a discovery call with me at cami.coach. If you're just dipping your toe into inner work, that's perfect. I will see you for the Genius Hours Deep Dive Edition, the last Wednesday of every month for the foreseeable future. And for February, we're going to be taking on goal setting and what that actually means and how you can actually make goals and then reach them instead of like New Year's resolutions, set them and forget them. Okay. So I would like to thank you all for listening, for participating, and for showing up today. Give yourself a big hug from me and good juju to you all. My warmest thank you to our lovely host, Bronwen, and to Felix and James and the entire crew at ADPList for building this amazing community that we can now call home. Now, I would love to take your questions. Whatever you got. We have another technically 15 minutes. I'm going to be here as long as you guys have questions thrown at me, okay? I would love to know what you got out of this, what you learned about yourself. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
We've got a question, Cami.
All right.
What is the name of the happy book?
It is called have it right here. The Happiness Advantage by Sean Acor.
Amazing.
The Happiness Advantage by Sean Acor. Oh, and thank you for putting, Sahana, thank you for putting my book list in the chat.
We have another one. With all the trauma you experienced, which did you tackle first?
All of it. I didn't ever go to therapy, so there wasn't any single thing I did first. I just realized that I was in fact worthy of love. That's a big first step. If you want to know how healed you are currently, write yourself a gushing love letter. Something that sounds like, "Dear Cami, you're an amazing human being. You have so much to offer this world, and you're beautiful, and you're so smart." And then you read it to yourself in the mirror. And if you can do it without crying, you're healed. I still can't. Yeah, I would cry. Yeah, I suggest you do that because those tears are therapy. How did I get past my fight? I found someone, my husband helped me through a lot of it. He's a generous love in my life who helped me see that I was indeed worthy. Jenny, thank you. Yeah.
Any advice on how to balance being kind to yourself while also pushing yourself to improve your self-discipline?
Okay, that's a great question. The way I think about it, you have your core, your creative self, your wholeness, like what you operate on. And if your creative well, if your energy level is depleted, there's no way that you can take care of anything else. So self-care is absolutely crucial. Self-love, self-care, and that's taking care of your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever, yourself. That's eating nutritionally dense, colorful food. It's moving your body every day. It's kind self-talk, all of that. That comes first. And then, And then you have your family, your loved ones, your parents, your kids, your siblings, your significant other, whatever. That's the next circle out. If your creative well is full, then you can take care of that next circle out. Then your paying work is outside that, which can also support your core. And then outside that, you have your volunteer work, your mentoring, your community, your hobbies, the things that you do for fun that fill you up. You notice how that circle is built? The inner circle has to be you first. Okay.
Amazing, Cami.
Right.
I've got another couple that have come in.
Yes.
When you are looking at the challenge mountain that you need to conquer and logically knowing how to conquer it, how can you convince yourself / your heart to make the first step?
So I would ask, first of all, make sure you feel that you are worth achieving that next goal. If you think, well, I want that next goal, but I don't believe that I'm worth it, you'll never get there. You have to see it. You have to believe you can get there before you can get there. How can you start to convince yourself to make that first step? Make sure it's a baby step. And I'm talking a teeny tiny baby step, not a big step like I'm going to get my portfolio done, but a teeny tiny baby step. The smallest step you can imagine. And if today it's getting out of bed, then that's your tiny baby step for today. And celebrate. Think, hot dog, I got out of bed today. Hot dog, I put pants on today. Some days, and last year was really challenging for a lot of people. Yeah. Some days getting out of bed is what you celebrate. I hear you. I feel you. Yeah. All right. Any questions?
Yeah, I got a couple more. How do you hit pause to focus on when you know there are people who need your help?
I would say first thing in the morning, after you've rested, carve out for yourself, like before you even open your eyes in the morning, start a little meditation. Breathe in and count to 10. If that works, breathe in and count to 20. Set your intention of the day as today, I'm going to do my best to be my best. If that's all you accomplish, awesome. I try to squeeze things in the morning because that's the best time to set your intentions for the rest of the day that will affect the rest of the day. I'm not always successful. I'm a work in progress, just like you.
And in that, Cami, would you say that that's also the time when you go, you know what, today I have capacity and I have space to help those others?
As long as your inner well is full, yes, absolutely. If you're feeling depleted, like I'm having a real hard time today, you have to be full before you give to others. Put your own mask on before you put the mask on of the person next to you.
Yeah.
And so often, especially for women, we are made to feel guilty for self-care, for taking care of ourselves first. And that's just a load of horse shit that we need to completely ignore. Self-care is crucial no matter what your gender. Self-care is crucial no matter where you live. Self-care is how we get through life. And self-care is how you actually can take care of other people. You've got to start with yourself first. Yeah. And all of these things, if you remember to take care of yourself, if you remember that those goals are baby steps and your path is going to be wandering and you're going to take the opportunity to rest and refocus in the meadows and whatnot, then your confidence will increase and your imposter syndrome will decrease. I'm hosting a crazy art experiment in mid-February called Crushing Imposter Syndrome with Crayons. It's limited to 20 people. But I did an art experiment earlier this week that was also silly but fun. And that was just making an inspiration grid with paintings. But I invite you to create art every day. Like, oh, I don't have it in here. I have a sketchbook that I just color in every day, coloring with crayons. 20 minutes every day is so healing. You don't have to think about it. You just do it.
Amazing. Cami, I've got one that I think a lot of people will relate to. Fear is occupying my thoughts and I'm struggling to stay positive. Mm-hmm. How can we get back to love?
Who asked that one?
It came as a direct message, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So to operate from abundance instead of fear, operating from love is an active choice. Between anything happening to you and you responding, you have about 1/5 of a second that you get to choose how you're going to respond. So in the morning, before you get out of bed, when you're thinking, all right, how is this day going to play out? I got a full stack of to-do things and I still don't have a job and my money's running out and you're focusing on those things that you don't have. So think about those things that you do have. Okay. Actively listing the things that you're grateful for is a perfect antidote to fear. So think of 5 things off the top of your head. Okay, 5 things. I've survived COVID so far. I have a roof over my head. I got to eat food last night before I went to bed. I have warm socks on and I saw a really pretty sunrise. Whatever these things are, no matter how small, feeling that gratitude is the antidote to fear and will nudge the needle towards love. And then ask yourself, okay, what would love do? How would love respond to this? If love were a person, how would love respond? Good question. All right, what else?
Great question. Has helping others helped you? And if so, how?
Oh my God, yes. One of my favorite quotes is from this book, Illusions by Richard Bach. This is a little paperback book. one of my favorite quotes from this is, "You teach best what you most need to learn." So why do you think I teach what I teach? Because relearning it just makes it that much better for me. I'm a human riding this rock, flying through space, living in the meat popsicle just like you are. Yeah.
Awesome. How did you improve your own confidence?
Baby steps. Baby steps. When you're looking at the whole mountain range going, I can't do it. Think, okay, that's the end goal, but what's one tiny, tiny baby step that I can get there? If you're like, I was talking with a coaching client today, and we talked about stumbling over our words, trying to explain what it is we do. And so I said, join Lunch Club. I have an open invite on my LinkedIn profile, but Lunch Club is a great way to network with people, or design buddies or anything like that, where you practice saying what it is you want. You can write it out first, you get clarity, and then you start saying it, and you find yourself saying it easier and more in your own language and less in marketing speak. Yeah. Baby steps.
And I've got, I think, one last question.
We've got lots of time.
We have got lots of time. We haven't got any more coming in at the moment. So this is the last
good.
question on the list.
Okay.
When writing a love letter to ourselves, what should we acknowledge in us?
I would start, and if writing a love letter to yourself seems very daunting, write a love letter to yourself as if your dog or your cat is writing it. Probably your dog. Dogs are better. Imagine how happy your dog is to see you at the end of the day. Oh my God, you're here. I'm so happy. You're such a good person. I love you so much. You're amazing. Oh my God, you're going to feed me. I'm so happy. Yeah, it seems silly and it makes you laugh, which is good. Yeah. Or talk to yourself, just the things that you were never told as a child that you always wanted to hear. For me, I mean, little Cammie was, a wallflower. Like, somebody just please notice me and be my friend. So my go-to is, hello, Cammie. It's so nice to see you. You're an amazing human being. I love you, and I love that you're showing up fully as yourself today. You have so much creativity to offer the world. I can't wait to see what you produce next. Just from the heart, just gush. It can be 12 pages long. It doesn't matter.
Amazing. I've got a couple more that have come in. Stuck on a page about my portfolio. How do I go about understanding who I am and writing about it? Oh, stuck on the about page, I think is what we're saying.
Wow. Whenever I look at portfolios and LinkedIn profiles and whatnot, I love to hear your voice and not marketing speak. Not, I offer the highest level of customer satisfaction, blah, 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 blah. My husband's in radio, so we say we offer the highest level of customer satisfaction, and we are conveniently located, like, according to whom? So I want to know, like, when I did the office hours, and we did a portfolio coffee hours, whatever, and we did the portfolio review, I saw somebody who said they make a mean cup of dirty chai. And I'm like, okay, I really get a sense for who this person is. If you are much more reserved, then show that, like, I'm a pretty reserved person, and these kind of things make me crazy. But here's the deal about me. I'm really passionate about UX, or I'm really passionate about solving problems, or whatever it is, in your own language, in your own voice.
I second that big time.
Talk to the mentors on ADPList. I know everybody here has access to them. Just say, hey, does this sound like me? You know me now that we've had a conversation. Does this sound like me? Can you hear my voice when you read it? I know it's really hard to talk about yourself, but I want to hear your voice, because if I'm hiring somebody, I'm not hiring a machine. I'm not hiring marketing speak. I'm hiring a human. I don't want to hire AI. Yeah.
Cami, can I add to that?
Yes.
One of the things I always do when I'm writing, and when you're talking about human, it made me true. I always think, what would a human do? And I read it out loud. And if it feels or sounds awkward, it's not you, it's not a human. So just constantly ask yourself that question: what would a human do? Or what does a human sound like? And it's a great way to make sure it feels real.
Yeah, if you read it out loud and you sound silly to yourself, like, I am a professional graphic designer with over 30 years experience in multi-level marketing and print. It's like, nobody would speak like that. How would you say it? Well, I'm kind of a recovering graphic designer. I've worked with all levels of people, all kinds of, from, you know, artists to mom and pop shops to corporate, everything. So it's my own language is on my page. So I want that to be in your language, in your own words. What else?
Well, last question for now, I think, is, what would you say you've had major breakthroughs, shifts in your life, or have you or gone through different phases, or is it lots of small things adding up over time?
Lots and lots and lots of small things adding up over time. And then my mentor, Peleg Top, is he used to be a graphic designer, had his own studio in LA. Had little tiny clients like the Grammys or something like that. And he became a mentor, and he offers a program called Creative High Growth. And it's 100 days of coaching, 100 days straight that you receive coaching. And it's an hour to 2 hours a day, every day for 100 days, no breaks. And it is like 15 years worth of coaching in 100 days. And it's not cheap and it's not easy. And it was so amazing and so powerful. I healed, I grew, my head exploded. I got clarity. I got motivation. Yeah. So hiring a coach, hiring mentors, working with mentors is the best gift that you can give yourself. That's why I'm such a big supporter of ADPList.
Amazing. All right. That's all our questions.
Awesome.
So I want to just take the time with those that are left to say a big thank you to Cami, because Cami did an absolutely amazing job. And I hope you're all I certainly feeling a lot calmer, a lot more focused. So yeah, pretty inspirational stuff, Cami, today.
Thank you.
As you mentioned, next time is, next time we're doing how to set goals or goal setting. So hopefully we'll see you in February for the next session. It's been phenomenal. And a big thank you to all of you. And I'm sure Cami will reiterate that,
yes,
partaking in that. It's been a phenomenal experience.
Thank you
really
all.
practical.
Thank you all for the work you've done. Thank you, Bronwen. Thank you, the entire ADPList team. I'll be here until you're all gone. So bye. Good juju and big hugs to everybody.